Why are you eating an apple?
Oh, wait. This is part of the podcast. I thought you were to say to eat an apple.
No.
Now everyone's got to hear me chomping.
I'm sorry, but you got a comment the other day, and I've told you for so long that you've been chomping on the podcast, and you're hearing these
Yeah, you hear that
sounds.
So,
but only because a negative commenter commented, you've started to listen to me.
I became self-aware. You're not meant to listen to the internet. Be who you want to be. But instead, I've been shamed. I've been publicly shamed.
Can I just say, though, your apples are helping.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Because I was listening to another podcast. It was the Curious Cases of Rutherford and Fry, I believe.
Oh, I love them.
And they're always great. But they were talking about how apples help in one of their episodes.
There we go.
So they always have a box of green apples in the Radio 4 studios.
So that's Ollie. He's becoming the Radio 4 studios in our house.
Yes, it's not quite as glamorous. I don't have a fruit bowl. It's currently an apple sitting in an empty pack of corn cocktail sausages.
Oh, lovely.
Love it.
I've just had some cocktail sausages. Anyway, we've got an amazing guest today.
We do.
Her name's Shelby.
Yes.
What's her intro bio, Ollie?
So on Instagram, she says she's your favourite disabled Bratz doll.
Oh, I love it.
And then like a kissy emoji. Like.
Thanks, Ol.
I'm
sure that she doesn't really want your face kissing at the camera in her bio.
You know what? I had to audio describe the emojis. So
yes,
you get all of them. You get the smiling. I don't know how to describe a smiling face upside down one. Like
he does. He tries to be like amateur dramatics about it. But Shelbs is amazing. She does fashion and lifestyle content online, all about just like loving her body. And she does OnlyFans, and she's just gorge. She's got SMA.
Yes. Which stands for?
Spinal muscular atrophy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she has a ventilator, but she's just glam, loving life. And she's been on Glamour magazine.
Yes, she has. She's been on Vogue.
Oh, she's just, yeah.
She's done London Fashion Week a few times.
Yeah. So we had such a gorge conversation. We did a dilemma, didn't we, Bob?
We did. This one's quite dramatic, actually.
It is very dramatic. We won't go into it, but blinking heck, this guy is something else.
Quite the moral conundrum.
Yeah, it is. But Shelb's had some really good advice for you guys, and we obviously riffed off her. And it was the first time we're actually meeting over the airwaves, but we found out that she's really close up in Leeds. So
yes.
We'll definitely pay her a visit sometime.
Close but not close. We are in Birmingham.
Yeah, but someday soon, I'm sure we'll meet up. But yeah, we really hope you enjoy this one about interable relationships and all of everything in between. Yeah.
So let's roll the intro.
Let's roll the intro. This is But I'd Never Marry a Blind Woman.
A show where we answer all the questions you're too afraid to ask about dating, marriage, and finding love with a disability.
I'm Ollie Edwards-Cave, presenter, author of my very, very, very soon to be published book, Blind Not Broken, and blind wife of...
me, Ollie Edwards-Cave, her sighted husband and the man usually behind the camera.
Each week on this podcast, we...
your fave interabled couple.
Debunk the stereotypes of dating with a disability, dive behind the inspiration porn headlines, and unpack your relationship dilemmas.
So when people say...
but I'd never marry a blind woman...
you can answer...
well, I would.
But I'd never marry a blind woman. But I'd never marry a blind woman. Podcast, baby.
Oh my gosh, and today we have lovely Shelby. Hello
Shelby.
Hi guys. Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on our podcast. You are the second guest. We had lovely Blind and Blonde, Sophie and lovely Reese not yesterday.
Last week.
We had lovely Sophie and Reese last week, Blind and Blonde. And now we've got lovely you. So could you tell us, we always love to start the podcast with a bit of an audio description of yourself, your pronouns, and also just a bit about you. What do you do? Who are you, Shelbs?
Yes, sure. So my name is Shelby Lynch. I am a fashion, beauty and lifestyle disability content creator. Got all that good stuff. I am a black woman and I have long blue braids and a black good white jumper on.
Nice. Amazing. So how long have you been creating for, and why did you start creating? Like, tell us a bit about your disability and how that kind of comes into your content.
Yeah, so I feel like I sort of fell into the whole content creation like by accident. I just started like posting outfit pictures on Instagram, and at the time I was sort of vlogging little trips to London and got all the beauty events that I'd go to, or YouTube events that I'd go to. And it just sort of grew from there. After I posted like a jumper that I got from Misguided, and then Misguided reposted the pictures to their Instagram, which was like so crazy to me. Because that's the first time
amazing.
I've ever like reposted my brand. So everything sort of grew from there. I just kept putting myself out there and posting the outfit pictures, and people really liked it, which was super cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
Fantastic.
cool. And we've seen online, you've been on a number of publications, hasn't she, all?
Yeah, we've got Vogue, we've got Glamour.
It's so cool. Like, how did that just kind of spiral from the Misguided post, or?
Yes, the Glamour thing was, oh gosh, I've got no concept of time, sorry. I think it was like the beginning of last year. I did the Glamour shoot. I went to London and did that. And it was me and two other disabled creators that all had like our own little shoots. And it was the most surreal experience ever. I never thought I'd get to do anything like that. And the road was so lovely. It was such a lovely day. And then I ended up doing London Fashion Week after that in July of last year. And
So cool.
To do London Fashion Week. I always wanted to go, so to get like some modelling opportunity. That was so much fun. And then in Vogue, I ended up in Vogue after that, which was another insane thing to me. But yeah, it was just such like back-to-back excitement.
Oh, so cool. And how did you kind of do London Fashion Week? Was it with Unhidden and Victoria?
Yeah, I went through models from diversity. So when I wasn't actually sure who I was modelling for till I got there. But when I saw Victoria, I was like over the moon. Because I was supposed to do London Fashion Week last February. But I got really ill, I had to go to hospital. So I missed it, and I was absolutely gutted. So when I got the opportunity again in July, I was like so gassed. It was like so much fun.
Oh, so cool. That's the thing about disabilities, isn't it? Like the amount of times that I feel like, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the eye hospital for an eye appointment, or like I've missed things in my youth that it's like, and then you're like, please come round again.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to do this. Like, it's so cool. Do you feel like, Shelbs, in terms of like how your disability affects you day to day, like I feel like my disability has made my brand what it is, and like I just have a sense of self that I don't think I would have ever have had without my blindness. How do you feel about yours?
Yes, I feel like I've got quite a good balance of like educating about disability and ableism. But also, I love just to talk about who I am and like my hobbies, like fashion and lifestyle and stuff. So I feel like it's good to have like a good balance between the both. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like when I talk about disability constantly, people's questions seem to get more invasive. And then if I don't feel comfortable sharing something, people tend to get a bit like agitated with me. So I think it's good to let go.
That's so interesting.
But also set boundaries.
Yeah. You know what, Shelbs? I totally agree with you. I think there is that balance, isn't there? And it's also like, you know, some disabled people may want to share more or less than we do, but I think also because we're online, we are kind of people feel like we're almost like public property in a way. So it is about protecting that kind of burnout that we feel for not only, you know, being like we love fashion and makeup and everything, but also like naturally our disabilities do come into our content. Do you feel like it's a kind of public property thing and you have to like say like how do you find and navigate your sense of self in that way?
I think it's just all about setting boundaries really with people. Get like, I don't know, sometimes when I do set boundaries, people say that I do come off quite rude, but that's not always my intention. So I always try to do it in like a fun, jokey way. Some people aren't like still taken back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
do you think it's because like you appear to be so like open all the time, and then as soon as you suddenly like, no, this is the line, people get a little bit sort of funny about it?
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like I'm just like, in general, quite a chatty person anyway. So then when I do set boundaries, people are like, oh, why do you have to be like that? Like, you don't need to be so rude. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not. Maybe
Yeah.
The way things come across online, I don't know. But,
No, I get it. Oh, I don't. I think you come across as so gorgeous. I absolutely love your content. I've been following you for years, and I think this is the thing. It's just that camaraderie to feel like there's people out there that are like us. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, she's rocking it. And I think this is the thing. So our podcast primarily is about like disability, but also like our interabled relationship. And I noticed that you are in a long distance relationship. Do you feel comfy chatting about that? And how did you meet your girlfriend?
Yeah, of course. So it's still all very like new to the internet. So this is very exciting. But we met on Twitter, which is such a wild place to meet somebody. But yeah, we met on Twitter. We started talking like last April, I think, and we became like official in July. And we just been like chatting every day, getting to know each other, hopefully planning to visit next year eventually.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just very exciting.
That's well cute.
amazing! I honestly, I absolutely adore like the first like year or so of it. Like, I'm just like, oh, you just so want to meet them all of the time. How is long distance? Because I know is she in Texas? We're actually flying to Texas soon.
Oh,
is that right?
Take me with you. Take me.
Yeah.
No, yeah, she's in Texas.
Oh, amazing!
That's
And do you mind me asking? Does she have a disability too, or how did you first connect? Yeah,
she is my first able-bodied partner, which is very, very different and a lot of internalized ableism that I'm trying to unlearn with like educating her, but she's also been educating herself, which she's got weight off my soft shoulders.
yeah.
She's like actually doing the work herself to like learn about disability and learn about my needs, and yeah, she's absolutely amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. I know what you mean about like I haven't known anything different, so it's really lovely to hear from you like the differences that you feel in a interabled relationship to like a relationship with someone also with a disability. Like, how have you found? I know it's probably hard to put into words because you're just so in love, and like in some ways it's just like completely normal, isn't it? But like in other ways, like what have you found that are the differences?
I feel like the differences are more with like how I deal with things. So when I was in like a disabled relationship, I was able to be not nervous to do like the disabled things, like whether it's calling my carers to run me over or calling my carers to get me a drink. But when we first started talking, I was very aware that I need to shout my carers for things. So I'd almost like get a bit nervous, or like I tried to make myself a lot smaller than what I actually was. But like, as time's gone on, and she's so reassuring, she's a mess. Like I've sort of got over that now.
Yeah. It's so
really
tough,
nice.
isn't it? Yeah, I totally know what you mean. Like, you have this like whole internalized ableism thing, like, oh my god, I don't want to be like a pain, or like, am I being okay, or like, can you now like I it's like second nature. Like, me and Ollie have been together 11 years, and like, he tells me whether I'm on my period because I can't see it, and different stuff like that.
You just shout up and you're like, Ollie, can you come here? I need to
Can
check.
you come here? Can you check whether I'm on my period?
Oh
I think
my
I'm
gosh, that's gold. That's gold. I love that.
literally. But do you feel like the caring role now, like a year in, it kind of like interweave for us? Definitely, it like interweaves like love versus care. Like, how do you see them? Do you see them as separate? Do you see them as like the same? Like,
and
I
how
know.
does the long distanceness of that play into it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I try to keep. I've always told, like, when I eventually meet her, I wouldn't want her to do too much care-wise. I'd probably do the same amount that my friends do. So, like, getting me a drink, helping me with my drink, helping with eat, that's about it. That's what all I could really do. But, like, at the moment with the long distance, my care situation is up and down constantly. So on a night time, I may have a night carer that I don't 100% feel comfortable or safe with. And she will, and then my girlfriend will literally stay on the phone with me all night to make sure that I'm okay. And if I need anything, like, because it's an emergency, she will text my best friend, who's obviously in the UK, get him to like make them aware. So she's literally so amazing. I've got,
Oh, I love it.
It's so like interesting, the differences, but yeah.
It sounds like it might evolve then, Shelbs. Like, the more you see her and the more like she gets to know you, like, I don't know, it definitely has for me and Ollie. Like, it goes from like, oh, I'm not sure, and then like, oh, can you do a bit, and then kind of now, what do you think, Ollie? Like, you see like care and our relationship like woven into one.
They're very intertwined. It's kind of things become natural. They just follow on, like as Lou said about the period thing, and then guiding particularly. Like, I find that I always just guide by mistake anyway. Like,
he tries to guide like his mom, and his mom's like, oh, I'm not blind.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, step coming up, trip step here, 4 steps down.
She's like, babe, I don't need. I know. So I think that it's so cute that like it's amazing and also cute, and also just all of the feels that like you're navigating that now. Like, I think that's so cool, and it's almost like really cool that you can do it on the phone as well, that it is long distance. And I think, like, I don't know about you, Shells, but like as a disabled person, like I felt so worried about the care aspect of like my sight loss and everything. Like, I hid a lot from Ollie at the start, and I think maybe like her being on the phone, does that kind of like take away some of your anxiety? I don't know.
It did in the beginning, but then when we advanced to video calls, that was when I was like really nervous. And I told my friends that I was talking to someone, and they were like, oh, can we video call together? And I was like, no, I'm nervous. So like, what if she's a catfish? Like, no, she's not a catfish. I'm going to show you. But yeah, when we advanced to video calls, it got a bit more nerve-wracking for me. But I just got to work my way through it and just keep pushing myself, and eventually we got there. So now I'm okay.
Yeah. And how do you feel then, Shelbs, like the dating scene as a whole, like as a disabled person, being like online dating? I know you said you met on like Twitter, now it's X. I can't call Twitter X. I'm sorry, I can't get on board with it, Elon.
No.
But like, how has that whole thing been? Like, have you had a lot of people that are like, I don't know, fetishize your disability? Because I know that a lot of my friends say that happens.
Yeah, I've not done that much online dating. I went through like a stage of like going on apps just because one of my friends was like, you need to go on Tinder. And I was like, I actually can't think of anything worse, but okay. But I did that for like a little bit, and it was just, people just really weird. They ask very invasive questions straight off the bat. There's not much like conversation there. Because I'm very much like a person that I need to get to know you very well. before I can start like opening up to anything else.
Yeah.
So I think that's what works really well with my girlfriend, because all we had was conversation. There's nothing else physical there at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's sort of reminded me, actually. So a few podcasts ago, we did an episode about someone who, when they're on the dating scene, hiding their disability before, like, and then sort of like letting them know. Is that something that you found that you did, or did you like tell people straight off the bat? Was it in the bio?
Yeah. What do you think, in the bio or not? To bio or not to bio?
Well, I can't really hide mine. I'm like very physically disabled, so I can't really hide it at all. But
Yeah.
I don't feel like I would if I could, just because then you got to tell them eventually. 'Cause like, the thing is that with my girlfriend, and we were both on, so I met her on my second Twitter account, not my main one. And on my second one, I don't have my face. It is a she. So for like a good week or two, we didn't actually know what each other looked like.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think I said that to anybody, actually.
that's amazing.
So when we were talking, and I started to like get feelings, I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to tell her now. I'm going to have to tell her. But my friends were like, you don't need to tell her now. But I felt like if I didn't tell her when I started to develop feelings, it would have just gotten worse. I wanted her to know what she was going to get into if it progressed. So I'm quite glad that I did tell her. She was obviously so cool about it. She was like, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It was chill. It was so chill. Yeah.
With me, like, number one, I think disability is the best because it kind of gets the whole like horrible nature of like the kind of fake or quite, what am I trying to say, Ollie?
I'm thinking, so if with disability, it can act in two ways, can't it? It acts as a bit of a great filter. So you
Yes,
kind of
it
filter
does.
out all of those people who don't have it in their heart to
Just be normal.
Well, to just be kind.
Yeah, just
and
be
friends
kind.
with someone who has a disability, let alone going into a relationship with one.
But I love
But
that.
also,
yeah.
it does also filter in the weirdos as well.
In the windows. Yeah, possibly. It does filter probably more weirdo. But also what I would say is when you said, oh, your girlfriend just went, oh, well, I don't care. Like that for me is Ollie's response. And I love the fact that Ollie just kind of thinks of things, just like takes it on the chin and just doesn't see me as any different. And because a lot of people do see us as, you know, having something wrong with us or whatever, like it's just so refreshing when you find your person. Like that is so lovely to hear that she was just like, well, I don't care. Did she have anyone who has a disability in her life already, Shelbs, or?
No, she doesn't really. Like her mum wears a ventilator at night time for like sleep apnea. Like my dad also has the same thing. But that was about it. She's just very like an open-minded person. She's so ratified, so ratified. But yeah.
So refreshing. Yeah, so refreshing. And I guess like the other thing about your career, which I absolutely love, is your OnlyFans. I'm not subscribed, but I absolutely love that you have so much body positivity and confidence to do that. Like I'm often on Instagram, like in my underwear, like, hi guys, these are my period pants, but they're sexy. Like, how did you get up the confidence to do that? Because I know a lot of girls that probably want to do it or feel confident about their disability enough to do that as a career. Like, how did you kind of come up with the idea of wanting to do that, and how do you have the confidence?
But honestly, it was just like, I think I started in lockdown. I feel like a lot of people just like started to just sign up to things in lockdown because we were on board. And I signed up to OnlyFans and TikTok. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I have the confidence. I just thought I'd do it, and I feel like because it's all online and it's not like face to face, it's less intimidating. Like if I don't want to post, I don't have to. If I don't want to engage with people, I don't have to. I just thought I'd do it like when I want to do it, which feels like a lot more comfortable and safer for me.
Yeah, definitely. Do you feel like you have a nice community online, or have you ever felt like it's kind of too invasive, or has there ever been a line for you?
Overall, I've got a really good community. Like they're all just so funny and just they're all just great. I love my audience.
Yeah.
I've also got a good like friendship group through the disabled community. Like so many amazing people that I literally love. We all support each other. And I made a lot of those friends during lockdown as well. So like I'm really just grateful for like all the amazing people that I've met.
Yeah. And how does your girlfriend kind of see your career now? I know you mentioned that you didn't tell her and you kind of had a second Twitter account to start with, but like how, when she knew about your platforms, like what did she say?
Well, she's very different to me when it comes to social media. Like she doesn't really have anything. She doesn't have Instagram. She doesn't have TikTok. She just like Facebook and on Twitter. I know. Oh wow, I thought that too. So I'm sort of got to like share my stuff with her, but she doesn't really have access to all of it because she doesn't have an account on it. But she's so supportive. Like I was telling her last night, I'm going on a podcast with you guys today because like I'm really nervous, and she's like, "Don't be like, you're going to be fine." And like, I hope so.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love it.
She sounds so supportive.
Yeah, she does. I love that. And I think when you find your person, like I just feel like in your heart, you know it's right. And it's so sweet that you've got that. And I mean, like what looking forward then, like how do you feel like, I don't know, you want to kind of go with the rest of your career? Like, is it more modeling? Is it kind of more activism? Like, where do you see yourself in like 5 years?
Honestly, I love doing all of it. Like, I can't choose a favourite. Like, I love the opportunity of working from home, working with different brands, because that's not really a thing. I would struggle to have like a regular office job, choose like access needs and carers and the whole shebang. So like working in brands from home is just so much easier for me. But then I also love going to like London for Fashion Week and having that whole really fast-paced, busy day, because it's always like a one-off. So like I love both of them. I can't really choose.
Yeah. Oh, I love it, Shelbs. Dilemma of the week.
Okay. So, this is on our disability.
Okay.
I, 27 male, have a complicated relationship with my partner, Sarah, who's 27, and it's a fake name, of nearly 6 years. We started as romantic partners and eventually became engaged after 2 years of dating and living together.
Cute.
A year and a half later, she came out to me as aromantic and asexual. Sounds like a difficult start to a relationship with that. Like, no judging, but this was difficult for me to deal with, as I don't identify as either of those and need at least romantic attraction from my partner. Ultimately, I decided to stay in the relationship as I found our relationship to still be fulfilling in other ways beyond romantic and sexual. But we ended the engagement and redefined our relationship to a queer, platonic relationship, or just life partners. Our relationship is further complicated by Sarah's health issues. She has chronic illness that has become disabling and has prevented her from being employed. I won't get into too much specifics in an effort to respect Sarah's privacy, but she has a neurological disorder and mental health issues which are often highly stigmatized. I was aware of her illness at the start of our relationship, but not the extent of her disability. At the time, she was still working full-time and making plans to enroll in college. She ended up having to drop out of college due to the stress making her illness worse. Eventually, she could not even work part-time without having her condition worsened. She has not been employed for 3 years now.
That's fine.
I'm constantly looking after her and taking care of her, even when her health is fairly good and stable. A flare-up can happen out of the blue. It's put a lot of stress on me, on top of the stress of being the sole provider for our household. I never wanted to be in a position where I had to work full-time for an indefinite amount of time. I deal with my own health issues, and my body is just not built for working 40-hour weeks. Since I've had to take over a sole provider, I've had multiple breakdowns over the issue.
Wow.
That's a lot.
What do you think, Shelbs? What advice? It's really hard, isn't it? But what advice would you give them at the moment?
I feel like there's so many like different parts to that story that like we need to work on. There's like the relationship side, and then there's the like work side. To do with the romantic asexual part of the relationship. Did you say that ended up in the relationship?
Yeah, I think they have. So they've opened it up, and
they've changed it to a queer platonic relationship, but he hasn't said so far about
whether they've opened it.
Yeah, whether they've opened it.
Because that's what I was thinking. Like, we should have that conversation for like polyamory. So, like,
yeah, that's true.
You need to get in there, but then they can also stay with his partner. So like, the relationship they've already got. That was just an idea that I.
That's so true. That's so true. Because also, if he doesn't want to be the sole provider, like if he's finding strain on that, some people don't mind it. Some people, are born to work 40-hour weeks. Well, I mean, look at Jeff Bezos.
Oh my gosh.
But other people, if he's not liking that, then yeah, I totally agree. Like get someone else, like have like maybe like a throuple, or like if you're open to that, then at least someone else can also like work, and then there's like 2 salaries, and then you can still support your partner.
Yeah, it would have to be like a throuple where they live together, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But let's continue with the
story.
Over the past few months, our situation has changed slightly. Sarah was approved for a full-time caregiver, which gave me the opportunity to no longer be tied to a full-time job, and instead be paid for what I already do, which is take care of our household and Sarah. Now, this is not to say that Sarah is completely incapable of taking care of herself at our home, but she does need quite a bit of help with a lot of tasks. If she overexerts herself, she risks a relapse in her condition. The new situation has relieved some of my stress. But now that I'm home all the time, I'm realising that I don't really want to continue living with Sarah. Oof.
Ooh.
So much of my life revolves around catering to Sarah's needs or preferences. I always thought I had the mindset that I wouldn't make myself smaller just to make someone else more comfortable. But I've come to the horrifying realisation that I've done that exactly for Sarah.
Wow, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I'm not really liking the way they're wording. I mean, obviously they've got to talk about their feelings in this sense, but I feel that if you never wanted to be a carer, then don't accept to be one, or like take the role to be one, and then like basically punish the other person. I don't know. Do you agree, Shelbs?
I do. It's got me thinking about a friend that's going through something similar right now, and it's not the best situation for her. So yeah, I'm with you with that, Lucy.
Yeah.
I feel like communication needs to be like there a lot earlier before you give up.
Agreed. It's like a lot of the time, like in all different scenarios in life, like but maybe like the care is highlighting it for them. But I don't know, like some people are, as we were saying like earlier on in the podcast, like Ollie and your partner, they're so like, oh yeah, well, disability isn't an issue for me because of like it just isn't, like it's just a part of life. But some people really like see, oh my gosh, like what you're blind, like that is just, the worst thing to possibly happen on the universe. And then you're just like, okay, mate, like jog on. And they're not worth your time, energy and effort. But also like it's just the way that they think, and you're not going to necessarily change their mind. And now I'm not necessarily saying that this person like holds those morals, but if they're not wanting to be a carer and they're wording it in quite a way that they're like, I've sacrificed my life to be here for you, whereas if they just like thought about the disability in a different way and thought, right, well now my needs have changed, and yeah, like me as a blind person, like I can't necessarily clean in the same way because I can't see the dirt on the bathroom, but you know what I'll do? I'll hire someone to come and help me and take control of that in a different way. Now, if you're not kind of seeing care in that way, then it's the wrong job for you. You shouldn't be kind of, surrounding it with these negative thoughts. You know what I mean?
Do you think
No,
they're
with you on that one.
almost trying to justify them breaking up, and
Yeah.
as a result, like these sort of internalized ableist sort of
Yeah,
viewpoints are starting to leak
definitely.
out?
Yeah, definitely internalized ableism. And I think that's what people use big kind of decisions or big things within their lives to kind of point towards and be like, well, that's why it's happening. But actually, there's probably a lot more going on in his mind as well in this scenario that he's not unpacking because he's not kind of open with his own emotions or truthful to himself. Easy to blame.
Well, shall we continue
Yeah,
on?
let's continue.
So, that I've done exactly that for Sarah. Almost literally too. I let Sarah sleep in the bigger bed that I bought and bedroom while I'm tucked away on a twin
how
mattress.
pedantic. If you love someone, you'll let them sleep on the bloody bed.
Well, it's like they're in a relationship.
Yeah. I bought that bed. How dare she sleep on the bed that we bought?
Yeah. It's like, how dare you be lit by that light bulb that I paid for?
Yeah.
You're using my central heating?
And also, if we're going to go near that kind of viewpoint, it's like, well, Sarah is paying for you to be her carer. That's her money. Like, get in the bin.
Get in the bin.
Do you know what I mean, Shel?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you're just nitpicking.
Yeah, he's nitpicking.
Oh, God. So, while I'm tucked away on a twin mattress in the spare room / storage room / craft room because she sleeps best on that bigger bed, I feel ashamed because I somewhat voluntarily put myself in this position. Why does he feel? Why does he feel ashamed of being like helping to care
For his partner.
Yeah, it's just like some sort of Andrew
Weird.
Tate style,
Andrew Tate.
like viewpoint. That you can't be nice to someone for fear of it like putting you down. Oh my gosh, you're sleeping on a twin bed by yourself in a nice room.
Get your violin out, your little tiny violin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She never directly asked me to adjust my life to accommodate her, but the nature of her illness requires it, and I don't feel like I have space emotionally, mentally, or physically to truly be myself. This is not how I wanted to live my life. However, I'm having some conflicting feelings. I do like the financial arrangement we currently have. Although
Carry
I
on.
don't make a lot of money, I'm not tied to a full-time job and have flexibility to spend my time how I see fit. Wait, so
basically, you're not caring for her.
He
You're
just said-
moaning that you're her carer, and that she's sleeping on your bed, and now you're going, well, I don't want a job anyway. Like, I don't have to care for her loads. So basically, you're neglecting your job as a carer.
he's also
what
saying
he's
that he doesn't
saying.
have the space to emotionally think, but then he says he's got loads of time to do exactly what he wants.
It's like a walking red flag. I don't know.
I literally, Shelb's like, have you found that this is kind of the case? I don't know. Like, you said your friend's going through something similar.
Yeah, like they're not living together at the moment, what I'm aware of. So I think it's slightly different.
Yeah.
But I know she's going through hell right now.
Yeah.
It's very similar to this, I feel like. I don't like it.
Do you feel like in generalized terms, because obviously that's her sitch, but like
Yeah.
in more general terms, have you had like, or heard, because I know that I have some really dear friends of mine, and carers can be quite like hit and miss, and like some of them are a bit kind of emotionally abusive. Like, have you found that?
I've had carers for years myself. Yeah, and I've had some really great ones.
Yeah.
And some ones that were like horror stories.
Really?
Yeah, oh my gosh, wow, yeah.
Do you feel comfy going into that horror story, or do you just want to like not go into it? Because
There's just so many, but like overall, I've started to set boundaries with like my care agency. So like if there's somebody that I don't get on with, because I've got to spend 13 hours a day with like this one person. So if we don't get on, I feel like some weird energy before it even gets to like an abusive place. I just get rid of them. Because it's my life at the end of the day. Like,
Oh,
if I'm happy with
totally.
somebody, get in my home, then they've got to go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the thing. Like, I know that some of my friends have had these scenarios where, like, you are in your home with like a set person, and you know, it's really hard, isn't it? Like, it's such a crazy place where, like, I've had carers and I felt like, you know, them guiding me different places, I haven't felt like confident enough maybe to say like, oh no, I don't like you doing that, or I don't like, you know, being guided in that certain way. And because I was a younger person and not as secure in myself, like there'll be things that I think that now as an older person at 28, I'm like, oh my gosh, like why did I let that kind of carer or access worker like speak to me like that, or like put me down, or like guide my guide dog in a certain way that I kind of just let it all slip, and I didn't necessarily stand at all the curbs. And you know, when I went to like a place where I had to do some training for my work, like I remember being in a hotel and like them saying, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out to get some beers, you know, before we go and do your meeting. And I remember sitting there like missing the meeting, and they came back, they messaged like, oh sorry, I'm a few hours late. I just like slammed the door in their face, and I was like, I've missed my meeting, like you're here for me, like I just don't understand. So there's been things like that where I felt so like, you know, that people have abuses of power all the time, and it's really sad.
Yeah. Wow, I'm literally speechless.
Yeah, literally.
That's unhinged. Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? And people think they can take the mick, I think. It's really sad.
They do, especially if you're like too nice as well. A lot of people like take advantage. Because like I don't live at home anymore. Kind of by myself. So I don't always have like my dad around to like advocate for me. So a lot of the times I do get like emotionally got overwhelmed, I'm like a little cry. My dad, and he's like, it's okay, and I'm okay after that. But it can be a lot, definitely.
Yeah. You said at night time, like sometimes that you don't have the carers. Is that them not necessarily showing up, or?
No, sometimes I fall asleep. Which is scary.
Sometimes they fall asleep.
Well, yeah. Get like I'm on a ventilator, so like it can get a bit, you know, worrying. But my girlfriend's there on the phone.
They fall asleep, and you're paying them to work a night shift, and they're falling asleep.
I work at night, so yeah.
Oh,
for God's sake.
And you're there like, hello, I want the toilet, like I need a drink, like hello.
Yeah, literally exactly that.
Wow. Like you don't ask for much, do you, when you hire someone? But that is just so tough and neglectful on so many different ways, especially when it's your personal care and your sense of self. Like it's just so personal, and I guess that's why it's amazing that you've put boundaries in with your care agency. But we shouldn't have to do that, you know? Like, it's so bad.
Yeah, we always say being disabled itself is like a full-time job. Forget anything else.
Yeah. I guess that's why there's so many, like, people who, like, have interabled relationships, and then care is such a big part of it, because you just think, like, you know, you get me, you love me, like, why not, you know? And if they're okay and comfy with it, and... You know, that's why I've always said to Ol, like, there's so much about my disability that there's the care aspect that people don't see. But if we were to hire external support, you do kind of you open yourself up. And I'm not saying that you don't find amazing people, because I'm sure you've got absolutely gorgeous carers now, but you've had to like whittle them down and like really gain their, like they've had to gain your trust, and rightly so. But like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, people need to do better. And like this guy in this scenario, I think with the Reddit post, like if he's not in it for the right reasons, like we can tell as disabled people straight away, right? Like, you know, if you're just in it for the money and you're like, oh, well, you know, I don't really have to do much. So, you know, I like the arrangement, but I don't love her anymore. It's like, why are you here, mate? You're that carer that's sleeping on the job at Shelby's house. Like, go away.
Well, it's in essence lost the core part of the job title, which is the care aspect.
Yes.
He just doesn't care.
He just doesn't care. That's true. How can you be a carer and not care?
Well, how can you be in a relationship and not care? Remember, they are like partners
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
true.
And he still doesn't care.
Yeah. Oh dear. Deary me.
Although I don't make a lot of money, I'm not tied to a full-time job and have flexibility to spend my time how I see fit. I do enjoy spending time with Sarah. She's my best friend. But I know I don't want to spend all my time with her. I tried taking more time for myself, but it's hard to turn off caregiver mode when we're physically in the same space 24/7 and so emotionally intertwined. I feel like we may have some codependent tendencies. Lastly,
Yeah.
and the biggest thing I feel conflicted about, is that Sarah has nothing and nowhere to go and would really struggle to live on her own. She only has one living family member and they live halfway across the country. She has some friends in the area who would probably let her couch surf for a while, but she would likely be homeless if she wasn't living with me, and this would destroy her health. She's not receiving disability or any other state benefits, despite my years of encouragement to apply. She has looked into applying for disability multiple times, but has never actually gone through with applying. This has been a source of strain between us. Sarah wants to be more financially independent, and I want her to as well. But she has not been willing to put in the time and effort to apply, even with my help. I've tried suggesting and helping her apply for state benefits like cash assistance or SNAP, but she never follows through with applying. The only benefit she's applied for was a caregiver, which only happened after multiple arguments and a mental breakdown on my part. I hope me leaving will be the kick in the pants she needs to apply for the benefits she so desperately needs, but I'm afraid she will lose all motivation without my help. Our relationship really ended 2 years ago, and I think we've both had trouble moving forward.
Yeah, I would say like they need to split up, but I think before that, I think it's really hard because you're just seeing it from his perspective. But what I would say is that she does need to apply for those benefits, but he can't just say, oh, I've tried to ask her so many times, maybe she isn't ready. Like there's an element of like self-acceptance that you need to like call yourself disabled as well. Like, have you ever struggled with that word, Shelbs?
I've been disabled my entire life, pretty much. I've always just sort of accepted the fact. But a lot of my friends have become disabled later on in life. And I've definitely gone through that.
And what do you think about giving advice to them? Do you think they need to split up or?
I do. I just want this kids. Is she called Sarah? I just want Sarah to have the support in place.
Yeah, I do too.
Action from there. It's really not fair on her. Because she's already struggling. Then it's just going to make it worse.
I totally agree with you. It sounds like she's really in a bad place. Like no one would voluntarily like ever want to neglect someone that they love. Like Sarah isn't doing that on purpose. And also it just sounds like she's got depression. So it's about kind of trying to navigate before, if you want to split up, like understanding that yes, you know, it took a lot for her to like evidently apply for that carer role. So it's about like trying to maybe get another carer part-time, getting her to kind of make a relationship with that person. And also like maybe just going with her to apply for the benefits. Like maybe you haven't like spoken or communicated in a way that kind of sings to Sarah, like, or speaks to her personality. It doesn't sound like you communicate the best in all other elements either. So I'm not too sure whether kind of you like yelling at someone like kind of gets through. You just kind of hit a brick wall.
It sounds like they might not have been compatible even if you take out the disability.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm just thinking as well, I don't know what the financial situation is like, but if you go to like couples therapy as well, so maybe work out some things there as well.
Definitely. I totally agree, Shelbs. I think that's definitely a road to go. Like if he really thinks that Sarah is his best friend, I think it's very conflicting. But at the moment, like reading that, the way that reads, it's like quite negative. So if he is able, and what my advice, and sounds like all of us, would be like, don't leave Sarah in the lurch. Like just get her the right support. And then if you want to leave, don't just be like, oh, if I leave, it's the kick in the pants she needs. It's like, no, people don't work like that. Tough love isn't like used for a reason, like quite a lot of the time. And you shouldn't be like that with someone that you call your best friend.
Yeah, it sounds like, because like they haven't had this sort of romantic link for a few years, it might be easier to have that split, but he could still sort of help out in like a bit of it might be too sore, I don't know, but like he can help out with applying for things while not being in the relationship as well. Like you don't have to like just like abandon her
cut
completely.
and then go bye. It's like, how heartless. You know?
Yeah, they're still friends.
Yeah. Oh, Shelbs, thank you so much for coming on. And everyone, if you want to send us a dilemma and feature on the podcast, we can keep it completely anonymous. We're reading ones from Reddit today, but the email address is help@lucyedwards.com. That's HELP@lucyedwards.com. We really hope you enjoyed this podcast, and please go and follow Shelbs. Shelbs, if they want to find you, where are you hiding on the internet, or where are you proudly sitting on the internet?
Oh gosh, I'm everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, all under ShelbyKinsXO.
Oh, ShelbyKinsXO. I love that username. And we'll leave all of Shelby's links in the show notes for you guys to peruse, because she's amazing. And thank you so much, Shelby, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.